Slavery was abolished in the United States in 1862 after President Abraham Lincoln, of course, issued the Emancipation Proclamation. But half a world away, this hideous practice is not only alive, but apparently thriving. Tonight, we shine a spotlight of shame on the sins of the Sudan. This procession of battered women and children of Sudan gives new meaning to the words Freedom March. Just days before this video was shot, these Dinkas from southern Sudan were slaves, many of them for years, forced to work as servants, laborers, and concubines for their Arab masters in the northern part of the country. This woman says she and her 4 children were captured and sold into slavery by Arab raiders in 1988, where she was routinely raped and beaten, her husband killed. This 24-year-old woman says the daughter she holds on her lap is the result of a rape by her Arab master, whom she says gave her very little to eat and would frequently beat her.
This is a fair price?
This is a fair price.
These Dinkas are free thanks to the efforts of international abolition organizations who have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years to buy the freedom of as many Sudanese slaves as possible.
I can't look those people in the face and say, I'm sorry, you can't go free.
Sudan is the largest country in Africa with a population of more than 36 million, an oil-rich nation bordered by Egypt, Chad, Kenya, Uganda, Libya, and Ethiopia. For nearly 20 years, the country has been torn in half by civil war between black Africans living in the south, many of them Christians, and Arab Muslims living in the north, who run the government, the military, and allegedly sanction the slave trade.
These are the jihad slaves, the holy war slaves of Sudan, where a Taliban-like government in the north has imposed its crazy version of Quranic law, is trying to impose that on the free black populations in the south.
No one knows how many Sudanese are still enslaved. The estimates range from 14,000 to 200,000. The reasons? Racism, religion, and the resistance of Sudanese blacks to Arab domination.
As a mechanism of undercutting the resistance movement, as a mechanism for depopulating this part of the country, as a mechanism of subduing our people.
But the government denies having anything to do with the slave trade and says stories of violent kidnappings are greatly exaggerated.
All these are allegations which really don't have any foundations. And I wouldn't say that somebody may not commit a mistake. I wouldn't say there is no system of abduction which happens between tribes.
Since 1995, international abolitionists have bought the freedom of an estimated 78,000 Sudanese slaves for a price of about $50 a person.
I was kidnapped when I was 7 years old in southern Sudan and being enslaved for 10 years.
After years of abuse, Francis Bach escaped and now travels throughout the U.S. telling his story, hoping our government will do something.
This is a miracle that I'm here today. I never dreamed that I want to be in the United States or somewhere else that people could treat me like they treat others. You know, people could care about me like I'm here and free.
International human rights organizations are not the only ones becoming involved with the slavery issue. A number of local groups are as well. In fact, students at this high school recently raised $5,000. That's enough money to buy the freedom of 100 Sudanese slaves.
If you or I, Tony, had that opportunity for what we pay for the entree at dinner to secure someone's freedom, would we do it? And the answer is, of course.
But everyone agrees buying the freedom of Sudanese slaves, while admirable, is not the ultimate solution. Many believe the slave trade will continue until the U.S. and other nations intervene, putting enough pressure on the Sudanese government to stop it.